Jimmy Johnson now is back in 24th.
The 43 did hit the wall, boss. There was some debris in 3. I think he hit it. He hit these walls every racetrack we go to, and they don't throw caution.
Chad Knaus.
A little frustrated. They didn't need to see the caution for sure right here, but it did need to come out.
So the running order shuffled up as of a result of the caution coming in the middle of a series of green flag pit stops. Clint Boyer was the race leader at the yellow flag, and he's our ESPN in-race reporter today.
Clint Dale Jarrett, you with us?
Okay.
Well, it looks like you've got a pretty good day going so far. I know it didn't get started off the way you wanted, but looks like your car's a lot better now.
Yeah, I about lost it down in the first corner of the first lap. That'd have been real nice, but just got to keep plugging away. We'll bounce back pretty good. Got a little good fortune there. Just got to keep it going, Bubba.
Hey, Clint, much change with the racetrack that you've seen here so far?
Outside lines widened out for sure. You know, just trying to be careful with the tires. You know, it's still green up there for the most part. I'm trying not to run up there if I don't have to, but let's see what this clean air does right here. Sure was a lot happier in third right there running in clean air than I was back there in 13th or wherever I was. So keep digging and have some fun.
All right, you have fun. Thanks for talking with us, man.
Thanks, brother.
Clint Boyer, the race leader, under the caution flag here at his home track, Kansas Speedway. Clint racing on the dirt tracks in this area and working at an auto dealership with dreams of being a big-time racer not all that many years ago, and now in the middle of a fight for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. And he sure would love for this race to turn out like last weekend's race did in Charlotte, when Boyer and his crew chief Brian Patty worked the strategy just right.
Well, they sure did. They didn't have a really good car in the beginning of the race, and actually Clint said it was terrible. But they turned it around, made a good pit strategy, came home with the win.
Yeah, and I think Clint Boyer's story is a perfect example and should be inspiration for young racers at short tracks around the country that, you know, if you continue to work hard and you find yourself in the right spot and can make the most of those opportunities that you get, just like Clint has, you can be here winning Sprint Cup races.
All right, well, Boyer's the leader behind the pace car. They've just waved guys around the pace car that had pitted under green and then were caught by the caution flag. They include Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin, along with Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, Martin Truex Jr., Carl Edwards. Those guys get wave arounds back onto the lead lap. Jamie McMurray also getting a wave around, but he is more than one lap down. And so that whole picture with Keselowski running in the back, Johnson leading, and Hamlin in the top 10 now shuffles around as a result of the timing of the pit stops and the caution, where Brad Kay is in front of his closest pursuers for the championship.
That's the way it is right now, but that's one of the things about the wave round rule that we have now. It used to be that was really a devastating thing if you got caught on pit road. Now it's not good. I mean, Jimmy was leading, but he's not down a lap. He is able to come around and be on the lead lap and just really loses the track position.
So here is the restart order you see. Matt Kenseth alongside Clint Boyer at the front of the pack. Where championship guys are concerned, Brad Keselowski's going to be 11th, Jimmy Johnson 21st, and Denny Hamlin 27th as we get set to go back to green. Look at Matt Kenseth with the run around the outside, up into the lead.
3 wide right behind him. Paul Menard there in the middle.
They'll just blast by him.
That 16 has been fast today.
See Paul Menard up in 4th spot. His first race back for Slugger Labby. Doing a great job for this team, getting it back on track.
Crew chief has been coming back from a suspension by NASCAR for a technical violation.
How about that move by Ryan Newman?
Wow, did you see Kyle Busch have to jump on the brakes there? You could visibly see that 18 car slowing down.
I'd say when it was slowing down, you could see the back wheels were sliding, look like.
See just how many of them using that apron coming down the front straightaway to get some clean air on them, making a shorter way around and making passes, making a lot of speed.
All this is from 7th place on back. Front 6 have sorted out single file. Casey Kane in that 5, continuing the trend of struggling in the first few laps after a restart. First handful of laps, really. And the further they go, then the car seems to settle in and get going.
Yeah, this time actually seems like the best that I saw. I watched him on the restart. Looked like he's been able to have a little bit more speed. That tells me they did something, maybe a packer in the front, get that splitter up off the racetrack there at the beginning.
Marcos Ambrose in the 9. Kyle Busch in the 18, racing there for the 9th and 8th positions. That little swing mid-race so far for the time being working in the favor of Clint Boyer. There's Jimmy Johnson. Well back in the field, racing with Trevor Bayne for 20th place. Uh-oh. Piece of ductwork or something?
Hard to tell what that was.
Yeah. Didn't seem to do any damage to the 17 car when he hit it. And we've come to halfway. And Matt Kenseth is going to be your halfway leader. We check on Tony Stewart, who is back in 15th place, Vince.
Well, it's been a bit of an adventure for Tony Stewart today, trying to get that car to handle as he started 33rd. You see him up to 15th. And they also had an issue just this past time on the yellow with their right rear. Take a listen.
All right, Bud. We had a right rear going flat. We were 8 pounds down there. So made some adjustments here. See what we got.
Now, they made a 4-tire change and a wedge adjustment, but I just was talking to the tire guy on the 14. They said they actually had run over some debris under caution. It punctured the sidewall. Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson has hit the wall in turn 4. And a race he was leading.
Stay on the racetrack if you can.
A race he was leading just moments ago through a turn of events that put him back in traffic.
Yep.
Has put him in the wall.
Get her into the garage here.
I noticed Jimmy there as we showed him it back in the pack. Looked like his car was extremely loose in that situation where he was having some difficulty in trying to make passes.
All right, guys, we're going to need a deck lid. We'll stop here in their pit. Maybe we can take a look at it.
Chad Knaus looking at
What
those
happened there,
pictures
Earl?
from us.
I just
And trying to get a look at his race car. And let's show you what happened to Jimmy Johnson, running 20th at the time.
Boy, he just swapped ends on him. And when you're back in the pack like that, I mean, your car just does not drive like it did when you were up in the first part of the field and maybe even up the lead like he was. So
yeah, and you're trying to make up some time, trying to get yourself back up there, make some passes. We saw Jimmy being very loose down in enter turn 3 yesterday.
that thing just went snapping around.
hang on, baby.
You see, he was really trying his very best to keep it out of the wall. He got back in the gas, trying to get the tire spinning enough to keep it down and not back into the wall. Wasn't able to accomplish that, though. Once again, just telling you, with this tire being so hard, and Andy, you were talking about having to run these cars on the edge, doesn't take much once it starts to get out from under you to get away from it.
And the 48 car on the pit lane now.
just carry so much speed through the middle of the corner. They're carrying almost 180 miles an hour or better.
You're ready to roll. Go, go, go.
The slowest they're going.
Well, pit road open for the leaders. Most all of them are staying out. But the big story at this point is that car coming at you off the pit lane. Jimmie Johnson, just 7 points off the championship lead starting the day. And into the wall just past halfway today here in Kansas. He was leading the race just a little while ago. Now Chad Canals and company have some work to do to fix that up. We go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Ram. As you have watched during NASCAR Nonstop, the continued repair efforts by the 48 team on Jimmie Johnson's car. After the somewhat shocking turn of events here that has changed his picture on the story of the day today. 200 miles into this race. Just before it, Johnson's the race leader. Now he's got a torn up race car.
He does have that, but they've managed to do a lot of work here and make some nice repairs on this car. I don't know what it'll drive like. We'll have to see that, but man, how quickly things can change.
So here's how the whole sequence went down. Jimmie was leading here at lap 119. He got the lead earlier in the race on pit road, held on to the lead through a couple of pit stops and restarts, came from the pit lane, from the lead to the pit lane, and just after his green flag stop, Eric Almirola hit the wall, dropped debris on the track, and brought out the caution flag. That set Jimmie a lap down. He took the wave around, restarted in 21st, and then running 20th, had that crash in turn 4 that's put us in the position we are right now.
You can see just how bad that back end of that car was, but it looks nothing like that now. They've taken the hammers and everything else they could to it, and from just looking from a distance, it looks reasonable here.
Actually, it looks pretty good. I mean, from what it looked like. So far, you got to hand it to them. They just got to make sure that all these things stay on the car.
Dave's got a close look there.
Yeah, one thing that NASCAR is asking him for is a piece of structural integrity. I don't think I saw him put it on there, but they were talking about having a piece of metal put on the back. So even though they're making the repairs out here on pit road, NASCAR still checking it over to make sure it's safe for Jimmie and for the rest of the competition.
Yeah, Dave, one thing I was noticing as that car was in and the people were pushing around working on it, that spoiler, while firmly attached to the car, still seems to be able to move a lot, and that might affect, see how the left side of it there is wobbling a little bit?
Yeah, you can see there's nothing there holding that much. I see that where that gas receiver is. I'm worried about that too, how they're going to be able to take fuel.
All right, so Jimmie coming back onto the racetrack and giving us flashbacks literally to a year ago when Johnson had a problem at Charlotte that cost him track position, put him back in the pack, and then this happened while he was trying to make up some of the lost ground.
Yeah, this was another instance where Jimmie got loose back into traffic, took a hard hit, but pretty much ended their chance at that 6th straight championship last year. Scored a blow to what they're trying to get accomplished this year and getting back to championship form.
Fortunately, Jimmie was okay after that hard hit. Certainly not nearly the severity of impact today, but again, another unexpected blow for Jimmie Johnson in 2012 as he races to rejoin the tail end of the field. So about to restart the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas, and we invite you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live from Kansas Speedway by following your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views.
I'm looking at it on TV, Jimmie. There's nothing wrong with that thing. Nothing. You might just have a little trouble looking out the rear window. 10-4, 5, I mean.